Shalom. Thank you all for joining us here tonight to learn about fostering independence in your children. For those who don't already know me, my name is Ali Wiener Abraham. I am the Jewish Education and Early Childhood Education Coordinator at the JCC of the Lehigh Valley in Allentown, Pennsylvania. I myself am a parent of 2 young children and wear plenty of hats in our community as a teacher, educator, and a support for our teachers and parents within our community. Our speaker tonight is the lovely Jen Chase. She is a behavioral health specialist and currently a stay-at-home mom. I met Jen about a year ago in a virtual class I was attending. Her knowledge and guidance when it comes to working with uniquely wired children is amazing, but most importantly, her support and patience has stood out amongst everything else. Jen, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. What a great introduction you already did. Thanks, Sally, for having me. I am Jen Chase. I am a mother of 2 children myself. My eldest, who is 7, is on the spectrum, so he is uniquely wired. And I also have a 5-year-old son. I worked in behavioral health for about 7 years before I had my kids and became a stay-at-home mom. I've been working with Amanda Walker at Whole Brain Connections for about a year now. And we work together on the Family Connections Thrive Academy as well to help other parents with uniquely wired kids on their journey. So I love doing it. And I'm so happy to be here to, talk about how to build independence in our kids, because I truly believe this is a really important topic that a lot of parents think they have a lot of time to kind of tackle. And we don't always have as much time as we kind of tend to think that we do. So I am going to talk a little bit about why it's important to me to build independence with my kids. And I'm going to tell you kind of a personal information and story as to why that is. My dad, my earthly father, was 36 years old when he had his first heart attack. And he died on the table 3 times that evening. And by the time he was 46, he was gone from our lives for good. And my sister was 41 years old when she died of a massive heart attack, leaving behind a barely 18-year-old and a 13-year-old. My brother, who is a year and a half older than I am, has already had heart surgery, probably 2 or 3 years ago at this point. And my younger brother, who is 3 years younger than I am, is already on blood pressure medications for his heart as well. So genetically speaking, I do not know how much time that I have with my kids to teach them the skills that they need to be able to function in the world as an adult. So, and you add in that complication of having a uniquely wired child where, skills take a little bit longer to build up, you kind of have to learn to make every day count. You really want to build them up and teach them the skills that they'll need, because I don't honestly know how long I will have with them. So that's why it's really important to me. But I'm going to tell you why it should be really important for all parents, whether you have a uniquely wired child or a neurotypical child, because fostering independence with our kids is massively, massively important, not just for them, for us, and for our communities and for the future. So here are some of the benefits of teaching our kids to be independent. It actually builds their self-esteem. It can increase their confidence level. It helps them feel like they are capable of handling challenges, and it gives them a sense of importance. They feel like they fit into the world because we're giving them a part in that world. Self-reliance helps them feel like they're in control of their environment. And all kids kind of need that on some level. They need to be able to feel like they have some say in what goes on, and this helps build that up. It increases problem-solving skills. When we teach our kids to do things for themselves, we're teaching them to solve problems. And that might just be a small scale right now with the things that we're teaching them as children, but it helps build up those skills so that when they're adult, they have better problem solving skills. It builds up resilience by preparing them to handle failures and stress. You know, as you're learning a new skill, it can kind of be challenging, somewhat stressful, and we're not going to get it right the first time always. So it helps them kind of deal with that kind of disappointments, and just that they can get over and move forward when they don't do it right the first time. It teaches our kids to actually set goals to accomplish. So we can teach our kids that, you know, you might not be able to tie your shoes today, but you can set that goal and you can practice and work hard and you can achieve that goal. So we're actually teaching them that it's a good thing to set goals and work hard to get there. So having kids be independent helps them explore what they like and what they don't like. So, you know, you have a kid who is doing different chores around the household, they're going to find out early on what chores they don't like. Mine is totally hand washing dishes. I would rather do anything just about than hand wash dishes. I love my dishwasher for sure. Having kids be independent, it actually promotes good work ethics. You know, it teaches kids that working hard is important and it has a place in the world, and it helps them be more mindful and appreciative of other people's contributions. So they're saying, okay, this is actually really hard work, but if I didn't do it, then this person would have to do it. And it helps them recognize, you know, that everybody has a place in the world where we're all helping each other on some level. And I think in our society, we don't always view it like that. But the person at the grocery store serves a purpose. The person at the gas station serves a purpose. We all have a purpose in the world, and it's to help each other, whether it's on a small scale or a large scale. So it helps us be more mindful of that, I think. And it helps parents. It helps parents tremendously when we can teach our kids to do things for themselves, because that is a time that we can be doing other parental tasks that our children can't do quite yet. It helps lower our stress levels so we can actually show up for our kids in the way that we want to more often, because we're not so stressed out trying to figure out how to get everything done in the small amount of time that we have. So, and it leaves more time for us to spend with our kids eventually, because when we're being able to spread out and do tasks at the same time, then we have more time available that we can come together and spend quality time. And that is something that is very important to us at Whole Brain Connections and Family Thrive Academy, because we're all about connecting. We're about connecting with our kids and spending time with them and really building them up. We want to create independence with day-to-day tasks. So if you were to take a minute and think about all of the things throughout your day that you spend helping your child with. So if you have small children, you're spending time helping them get dressed. You're spending time helping them toileting. You're spending time making food and cleaning things and all of those tasks. Whereas those are fantastic opportunities to actually help train our kids to do some of those things. I actually posted one of the resources is the ability-based contributions. I don't like that most places do the age-appropriate chores because it isn't always about age, especially when you have uniquely wired kids. You know, a 2-year-old that is neurotypical is going to have a different ability level than a 7-year-old child on the spectrum. So I didn't put it based on age, I put it based on ability level. So, and I like to put contributions because it helps them recognize that they are a part of the day-to-day tasks that go into caring for their home. They'll actually respect their home better and take better care of things when they're like, oh, well, I'm going to have to clean that. You know, they won't make as much of a mess if they're actually the ones who have to clean it up. So, I don't know if we want to go into too many of those. Can I, Ellie, am I able to screen share?
Yes, you
Yes.
can.
Okay. I'm going to screen share so that I can kind of show you guys what it looks like. So you'll see that the stage one here is a lot of these are for those very younger kids where they are just learning to kind of do things a little bit. So a lot of those will come with some form of help. Now, as you move up into each stage, it's going to include everything from the stage before that. And in some cases, it's going to take it to another level there. So I'm not going to go over these too much, but those are available in your group so that you have access to them. Feel free to print them and use them, whatever you need there. So, okay. Okay. So how do we build independence with our kids? I like to use the 4-step process to teaching a child a skill. And I will screen share that as well. Here. Okay, this is also available in your group so that you can print it out and take a look at it. This 4-step process to teaching a skill, it starts with modeling. Everything we do kind of starts with modeling. We want to show our kids how we do a task, how it's completed. So we use the formula, I do, you watch. So when you're modeling a skill to a child, you're going to be doing the skill and the child is going to be watching. Then you move up into the guidance skill where I'm going to do it and you're going to help me. So you're, as the parent, are going to be the main one doing the task with the assistance of your child. Then you move up to the support level where the child is actually going to do the task and you are going to assist them. So the parent is assisting the child, but the child is the one who's doing the bulk of the work there. And then you move to the final step, which is to apply, where your child is going to do the task and the parent is going to watch and supervise. After that level, they should be able to do that task on their own. Now, a lot of times neurotypical kids might skip some of those steps, and that's okay. And even some of our uniquely wired kids might skip one of those steps, and that's okay. But ultimately, this is the best way that I have found to teach a skill to a child. So when you're teaching a child to dress themselves, you would actually give them the example of dressing themselves. So you would show them, okay, I put this over my head like this, I put my arms in, and you are showing them, you are modeling that behavior for them. Then you're going to do it and say, hey, can you help me put this over my head? You know, so they're going to be helping you along with that process. Then they're going to do it and you would assist them with, you know, putting it on their head or whatnot. And then you're going to watch them do it. And believe me, when you have a uniquely wired child where it takes sometimes a long time to get through these steps, when they get to that point where you can watch them do it for themselves, you are both beaming with pride. You know, it helps increase that self-esteem so much because they feel like, hey, I can do this. And that is a great place for our kids to be, is feeling like they can do it. So there is that. I'm probably talking a lot faster than I probably needed to be, but that's okay because it will leave lots of time for me to answer questions. a couple of reminders when it comes to building independence with our skills. My first reminder is to keep the long view in mind. We as parents have a really hard job, and it isn't just to take care of our kids as children and do things for them. It is actually to prepare them for adulthood. It is to prepare them to living in the world, in my case, potentially without me. So we want to keep that in mind, is that our kids are going to face challenges that come up. They're going to face tasks that they need to do without our assistance. So we want to give them the tools, the confidence, everything that they need to be able to handle those problems as they come up without us. Reminder number 2 is our kids are way more capable than we think, okay? Excuse me real quick. Our kids are totally more capable than we think. So my son is on the spectrum, and he is constantly surprising me with what he can do that we haven't even worked on. So the best way to really foster independence with our kids is to actually let them do it, because they are way more capable than we tend to think. We think, oh, he's just a little baby, you know, because we as moms, they are our babies, regardless of how old they are. But they can do a lot. They just need that opportunity sometimes from us to do them. So I hope that is helpful. I know we've got some questions. Where do you want to start out?
Actually, you left off exactly where I wanted to start,
Okay.
because what you just said really resonates with me. A year ago, people thought I was crazy that I wanted to potty train my not even 1-year-old, but she was ready. She showed me that she was ready. She was watching me go to the bathroom. She was trying to help whenever she could, whether it was bringing toilet paper, flushing the toilet, and then she needed my help to be in the bathroom. And ultimately, she was getting to the point where she was independent. And she was just, by that point, she was just barely 1. And everyone was like, what? How could you do that? It's not, you know, they're too young to understand that. But I realize exactly what you're saying, is that they're not really too young. It's all about where they are developmentally and where they are in their own abilities. You'll have children that aren't ready for potty training until they're 2, 3, 4 years old, maybe even later for some kids. And then there are kids that are so ready. They're giving you all the signs. And I know I'm just talking about potty training, but it could be about anything. Getting dressed by themselves. It could be about making their own meals. It could be about even, you know, using a computer independently. And I say that because I would have never thought my child would be able to use a computer independently at this age. I don't think I used a computer independently when I was 6 years old.
Oh yeah, our generation definitely didn't do that.
Of course not. But you know, with COVID and kids going virtual, they all learned really quickly. And they're able to adapt super quickly. So it just opens our eyes to see that, you know, our kids can handle anything as long as we give them the guidance on how to do it. I wouldn't have just given my son a computer and been like, here you go, figure it out. I had to show him, like, this is how you get onto the internet, of course, safely. This is how you go into a Zoom call. This is how you do all these different things. And now I can send him to his programs with our laptop, and he knows exactly what to do completely on his own. So thank you for stopping there, because that was perfect opportunity.
No problem. My 5-year-old would literally, when it was time to do his Zoom call, he would pop on there and then kick me out of the bedroom. He's like, I got this, Mom.
That's awesome. I mean, they start younger and younger knowing how to use
Oh yeah.
technology. So technology is its own category,
Yes.
but it was just an opportunity to really show that our kids can do it.
Yes, they're
Um,
very adaptable, and they can definitely be taught and trained at a much earlier age than we think.
exactly. And I also think it has a lot to do with seizing the opportunity.
Oh yes.
Okay, so I know that I have a couple of questions
Mhm.
here from people who have posted previously or sent me messages beforehand, but I want to give our friends who are in the chat with us tonight an opportunity to ask any questions. If anybody has a question, now would be the time to either unmute, raise a hand, or put it in the chat. And while we wait for our friends, if anyone has questions, I will go for it, Gail.
I don't have a question. I was actually going to say about the whole letting them do, and they're more capable than we think they are. It's so true because my 6-year-old decided that he wanted to make dinner tonight, and he was making macaroni and cheese.
Nice.
And so he thought he had it all under control, and he got some of the stuff out, and then he realized that he wasn't stirring the pasta, so of course it clumped. But other than that, he did a lot better than I anticipated, even though I wanted to try to hover over that and take over control of it. So they're a lot more resilient than we give them
Yeah.
the credit for.
I actually think, Gail, you brought up a good point there, is that it's really hard for us as moms to let them do without help, especially with certain tasks. So if you run into that where you know that they can probably do it and you need to like let them do it, but your insights are going, I can't, that's too much for them. It's okay to just go out of the room and let them try. It's actually better to let them try without you in the room than for you to be in the room and say, okay, I'm just going to help you. Because then we're actually giving our kids the wrong message that they can't do things. And we want them to try new things, even if they need help. You just say, okay, I'm going to let you try it. If you need help, I'm right out here. Just give me a holler.
Yep. Like I said, I mean, like he started out with a smaller pot, so we needed
Mm.
a bigger pot, you know. And he after it was done, he realized why he needed to do that. And like I let him kind of do some things, and like he didn't have certain things ready, and I'm like, okay, now what happens? And he's like, oh mommy, what do I do now? And I'm like, it's okay, like I can help you, we can get this done. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, and it came out good.
That's great, Gail.
Thank you, Gail. I love that. That's awesome. Okay. Do we have any more questions from within? I'm going to ask some of our questions that we have over here. So here's the first one. How do I get my oldest to do what he's capable of doing when he sees that his youngest sibling or younger siblings still getting help? So you've got, multiple children in the family. The older one can obviously at this point has the ability, and we're going on this question knowing that the child has the ability to do these things, but they see that their younger sibling is getting help and I can't do it, I can't do it, and constantly asking for help when they can do it.
Right. I would suggest getting curious. Chances are that child still wants that assistance because it's actually not about the assistance, it's about the connection between the two of you. So if that is the case, is that they just want that kind of help because they see that the younger sibling is getting that connection and attention, but they're not anymore. That's when you need to kind of sit down and have a conversation with them that says, okay, you don't need help with this thing anymore because you can do it all by yourself. How about we think of something else that you might need help on so that I can still help you, but we're still moving forward and learning and growing.
I love that. We've mastered this skill.
Mhm.
Where can we work on?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Okay, here's my next question for you.
Okay.
How do you help your child when they have the skill? Sorry, I always start with he, but
That's okay.
when they have the skill, but they believe that they do not. So they really wholeheartedly believe that they don't have that skill and they need your help to do things, but you know that they've already mastered it.
This is where something that we use in the Whole Brain Connections comes into play a little bit, is that we collect gratitudes and wins, and we actually have a form for parents to write these things on. And what is nice about that is when they're able to accomplish a task, you can write it right on there. And then when that child says, I can't do this, you go, but you already did. Like, I know that you can do it, and you actually know that you can do it because you've already done it. So it's just reminding them that they've already done it. They're totally capable of doing it again. And remind your kids that it is more important for them to try than it is for them to be perfect at something. It's more important for them to try than it is for them to do it right the first time. We would rather them try and need some help than for them not to try.
I love the idea of having your wins right there on the wall for everyone to see. And also it's so concrete, not just for that child, but for everyone in the family. And to be able to be like, hey, look, it's right there on the wall. You did it on Tuesday. You know, you buttered your bread, you put the cheese on it, and you even cut the crust off all by yourself. Yes. Right here. See?
And actually, you know what, Allie, this is self-celebration is actually a skill that we need to teach our kids more often too. Is that, you know, we might not always be there to give them that praise for doing a task well. We want them to teach. We want them to know that they can give themselves praise and like a high five, or, you know, my son, I love my son. He's so funny because you can tell that we thrive off of positive reinforcement in this household for sure. Because whenever my son or anybody else in our house does something and completes something, he's like, good job. Like all the time. So, and it's great for them to have that where they can tell themselves, you did a great job. You can like get a reward and reward yourself for doing a great job.
You are your best cheerleader. I love that.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know if you're your best cheerleader, but you should always be your cheerleader.
I love it. And I think it's also really important for your kids to see you doing that as their parent. Mm-hmm. And even when it comes to, you know, in the classroom, I know I had one of my teachers ask me a question to ask, how young can you really start fostering independence?
I did see that question, yes. And my answer to that is as soon as they can start doing things for themselves, for sure. Kids actually have a natural tendency to want to do things for themselves. It usually starts about between age 2 and 3, where they say, I can do it, or me do. And that is a great opportunity that you want to take full advantage of, that they are willing to try to do it themselves. That is an opportunity for you to let them. Give them that parental reminder that if you need help, I'm right here. I'm just a shout away. So, but that is, you want to seize that moment when it comes, because the longer that you actually wait, the harder it is to actually teach your kids to be independent. My sister-in-law for the longest time would not have her kids clean up. Like she She would always say, it's just easier. And every time she would say that it was easier for her to do it, my insides cringed. Because it may be easier in the long run, but she's actually like depriving her kids of all of those good benefits that I talked about that they get from doing things themselves. And the funny thing is that, you know, we're like 10 years down the road now, and she'll sometimes call me and like, how do I get them to clean up? Because she waited so long that, for one, they still don't have the skill. They still needed taught the skill. So whether you do it early or you do it later, you still have to teach them how to do it. And then she got a lot of pushback from them, because for the longest time, they're like, I didn't have to do this before. Why do I have to do this now? So the earlier you can foster them doing those small day-to-day tasks, it isn't odd for them to do more. It's just like a natural part of the growing process. Whereas if you wait until they're older, it is much harder to get them on board to doing those things and learning new skills. And then you're kind of like holding them back in a sense, because now they have all these skills that they need to catch up on learning. So
It's so true. I know exactly what you mean. I mean, I feel that cringe also when people, yes, I've been that parent to clean up after my kids when we're in a rush to get somewhere, or we're leaving somebody's house and my kids are not focused on cleaning up because they're still interested in playing and we need to leave. But in general, you know, the skill to clean up after yourself, it's not just about their toys being all over the place.
Right.
It's about cleaning up their food. It's about putting their clothing away. It's about living a healthier lifestyle and a responsible lifestyle.
Right. Yes.
So I 100% believe in letting your kids clean up after themselves, from the floor to the table to their bedroom. Back to the question about how young you can start. What are some things that you could encourage in children under a year? How can you foster their independence at that young of an age?
I would say they can still pick things up and hand them to you, at least for most kids. Some of our uniquely wired kids might not be able to do that just yet at 1 year old. But that is definitely something that they can do, where they can hand it to you. If they're walking by then, they can walk something over to you. So it kind of, it's that assistance part still, because they're too young to do it on their own yet. But teaching them how to assist with a task will make it easier to transition to them doing it when those abilities do show up. And I know, like, lots of parents are like, well, my kid can't do that. Like, I have a uniquely wired kid, they can't do that. Let me tell you something, okay? Stage 2 is where my son is at right now. And like in an age appropriate chore list, that would probably be the 6 to 7 year old age range, which is right where my son is. But he can do everything on that stage 2 list. So it might take time, it might take some practice, but you can do it. Your child can do it.
That's awesome. I remember last year when my daughter was still like really, really little. I know she's still really little, but before she was 1, and she was walking or crawling or moving around, I always encouraged her to throw out her own trash.
Yeah.
And I don't mean a whole plate of food. I mean like a little napkin,
Yeah,
or a plastic cup, just something small, and just give her that praise all the time. Now she's 2, she throws out her own like everything. She clears her table. She puts food in the refrigerator. She takes things out of the refrigerator. I know there's that huge difference between 1 and 2, but I feel like there's all these small little tiny things that even under the age of 1 that they can really assist
Yeah, they're
with.
totally capable of doing, and those are actually on the stage 1 list that I sent into the group. So.
Oh, great. I can't wait to print that out and give it to my teachers for their classroom. Okay, so Gail asked a question. She wants to know, so if you're climbing the steps of independence with your child and they slip back, do you restart all over with the 4-step process?
I would actually say, Gail, I'd be really curious as to why they're stepping back. I would definitely put on my detective skills that I know you definitely have because you are part of our whole brain group. Teaching independence teaches responsibility. Absolutely, it definitely teaches responsibility. So yeah, I would be really curious as to why there might be that backslide. I'd say check that out and get back with me, because I know you can message me and let me know what you find out, and then we can continue our conversation from there.
Thank you.
No
that's a
problem.
really good question, Gail. I wonder the same thing. You know, if your kids are working on a skill and all of a sudden they go from, you know, the 3rd step back down to needing more assistance, why that would happen. And I'll tell you this, I've seen it. I've seen it with my students. I've seen it with my children from time to time. Usually I find sometimes there's sleep stuff going on, or not eating so well. There's just, it's something more, there's some sort of stressor that's causing them to take that step back.
Yeah, that's definitely when I would use the iceberg for sure.
Yeah,
to get curious as to what's going on underneath.
Okay, I have some more questions for you. So let's see. How do I know if our children are struggling or just trying to get what they want when they say that they can't do it, I can't do it? Are they struggling or getting what they want? How do you, as a parent, tell the difference?
I would actually take a look at what you know that they're capable of, would be my first suggestion. Like if they've shown a pattern where they've done it all of these other times, then you would know that they actually have that skill. And that's when I would get curious again, is use that iceberg. Okay, what is making them feel like they can't do it in this moment? And if you need to refer back to that, okay, I know you can do it because you've already done it here. So what else might be going on that you don't feel like you can do it now? And so that might open up conversation.
So I'll give you an example that maybe you can help me with.
Okay.
My son wants us to help him make sandwiches for him in the morning. I know he can do it. He's done it plenty of times. He always wants for breakfast his peanut butter, and jelly sandwich. Always the same thing. And usually he can do it. But then some mornings he'll say, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's too hard. And when I ask him, how is it too hard? Or what do you mean? Explain. He's like, it makes my hand tired. So is it too difficult for him in the moment? Is he, struggling getting the peanut butter out? Is he tired? At that point, how do I, as a parent, know if he really needs my help or if he's just trying to get me to do it for him?
That can be a little bit challenging to kind of distinguish the difference in the moment. I would say you have to base it on what you know about your kid. And I would open up to them that if you're having a hard time because it actually hurts or because you're tired, let's do it together. Instead of having mommy do it. Yeah, or even if it's a sensory issue. A sensory issue would be a little bit different. than some of the other ones, because there's a tactile issue going on there, which if you are connected with an OT, they would know that. But yeah, I would say let's do it together instead of mommy do it. If he's still kind of giving you a hard time, then you know for sure he just wants you to do it and he doesn't want to do it.
I like that. Okay, so tomorrow morning, if he gives me a hard time, I'm going to offer to do the hand over hand and ask him to help.
Yeah.
My first go-to. Gail, I see you want to say something.
Yeah, the reason I was mentioning the sensory thing was because I was wondering of his grip. Like, I know, like, my daughter has an issue with the thumb over grip.
Mm-hmm.
So some things actually do start to hurt her hand. So she'll say, I can't. And I know she can because she has done it in the past. So that's why I was saying, is it a sensory issue maybe?
Mm-hmm. I would say in that respect, if they've already shown that they can do it, then it's actually better for them to really keep trying to do it. Because with OT skills, the more that you do them, the more your hands become capable of doing that. So I would have her keep trying. Maybe
Okay.
offer an incentive that day.
Thank you.
Okay. Rachel, would you like to ask the question or do you want me to read it? Awesome, I'll read it. Okay, my son was already insisting on doing things for himself by 1 year. He is currently insisting on reappearing his toy car by himself. Maybe that's repairing his toy car by himself, which he cannot do yet. When I ask him if he wants help, he says no and puts it behind his back. Ha ha ha. So sorry for the, reading it on the side sometimes is a little more difficult. So you ask him if he wants to help and he says no, he doesn't want to help. What do you do then?
It's fun. I didn't want to say anything because he was like screaming.
Been there.
But he's, I just let it go, and either he'll eventually ask for help or.
I would say if there's not a safety concern, I would let him work it. Let him figure that out, because that will actually really help with those problem solving skills. Because he'll have to figure out, okay, well, this isn't working. What else do I need to do? If it is a safety issue, then have that part of the conversation with them. I can't let you do this yourself because you could get hurt, and I don't want you to get hurt. So we're going to do it together.
He just threw it to me. Thank you.
No problem.
I love the in the moment questions. What's going on right now?
Right.
Thank you, Rachel. All right, so here's some more questions for you. How do you encourage the independence when all they want is your attention? So they are trying to do something, they can do it, but the fight is about the attention. The meltdown is about the attention. Okay. How do you move forward then? Do you give in and give the attention that they need in the moment, or is there other alternatives?
I would actually say the attention follows the task. So my 5-year-old really likes to snuggle with me. And sometimes he will, like when you ask him to do something, but I want to snuggle. And I say, that's fine. We can totally snuggle as soon as you're done with that. And then you just kind of leave it at that. And chances are they will just get right up and do it because they want to spend that actual quality time with you. If our kids can get that positive attention from you after completing a task, that's much more preferable to them than having that fight back and forth, that negative attention that, some kids, that's all they get. We don't want our kids to just get that negative attention. So it is like, I'm already waiting in the other room for you to snuggle. As soon as you're done, come find me. And I would say make sure that you get that really focused quality one-on-one connection time on a daily basis. It's so important. It's actually what our workshop is centering around in Whole Brain Connections this month is connecting.
Wow. So to add to that question, what do you do when the tantruming won't stop and they just insist that they cannot complete the task?
If truly the source of it is they want your attention, then I actually recommend removing that attention.
Interesting.
And we actually, in the field, we would call it planned ignoring, because by giving them that back and forth when they're having that tantrum, if it is an upstairs tantrum now, like I want to be clear about that. If they are totally in control of this tantrum, they know what they're doing and they know what they're trying to get out of it is your attention, then you want to not give them that back and forth feedback, because they're getting what they want by throwing that tantrum if you're engaging with them. So that is, you should reiterate, I am already in the other room. Come and find me as soon as you're done and we will spend some quality time together.
I like that. Sometimes it's hard though, when they're in that moment and having that tantrum and they just can't get out of that meltdown, the tantrum, the meltdown, they can't get out of it. Your attention to them it's like it's feeding even having that conversation with them is feeding the attention seeking behavior.
Yeah.
I know I've got a parent here saying, but the more attention you give them, the more they want it, and you don't get a break. So even having that conversation with them is giving them, you're saying, okay, I'm going to the other room now. You're going to do this. And when you're done, you're going to come find me. Even that is giving them the attention that they're seeking. And it just adds more.
I think it would definitely follow that if you continue to say it. You say it once and walk away. If really what they're after is your attention, they'll do what they need to do and then come find you.
I hope so.
So in that moment, is it okay to then turn around and say, okay, this is a task at hand that needs to be done. So give a choice and say, either you can complete this task and then come snuggle, or don't complete the task and end up with something that's not as favorable, or no?
I would not give it the option of them not doing it, because then kind of if you have a child who their main purpose for that tantrum is to escape doing that task, then they're going to think, oh, well, she's going to give me the option not to do it. So I'm just going to, do that. So whatever choices you give them, you really want them both to get the goal completed.
Okay.
So either you can get this done and come and find me and snuggle, or you can continue throwing your tantrum. You're still going to do the job, and then we won't have time to snuggle. Do you see where both?
Much better choice.
Yes, both choices get done what you're hoping to accomplish.
Okay.
I love it. So I have a question about, so this is from a teacher's perspective, a teacher's question. So there's this idea of kindergarten ready, and I put quotes up because as an educator, I don't believe that there's such a thing as really kindergarten ready. Your child's going to go to school to learn.
Yes.
So they're ready going into kindergarten however they are. But on that note, how can educators help foster independence in the classroom?
I think visual schedules are an amazing thing, especially for kiddos who are coming into kindergarten or pre-K where they can't read yet all the time. So having a visual schedule to let them know, okay, once you complete this, then we're going to move on to this. They know what to expect, and they're actually much more able to do what they need to do because you're telling them exactly what they need to do there. And I would say pair up kids based on their strengths and their areas of weakness. So if you have a kiddo who's really strong in a skill, you want to pair them up with a kid who struggles with that skill, because it will actually teach both of them to work together to build that independence. So yeah, those are my recommendations for that.
I have a new friend joining me now, but it's perfect timing. Oh, you're cold. You want to say hi to everybody? No.
Hi, Shira.
It's all good. I think that we are just about done anyways. So, 1 second. I've got another question for you. Hey,
Okay.
Hey. I'm gonna mute. Sorry about
That's okay.
So I've got one last question for you, and that is, where do you draw the line when it comes to Sorry, was I still muted?
It kind of broke up a little bit. You were kind of glitching.
I'll do that again. So where do you draw the line when it comes to fostering independence or stepping in when it comes to social relationships?
Okay. I would say the best way to work social relationships is to, 1, model appropriate social interactions for your child. You can, 2, have discussions and even role play social situations that might come up and how they can problem solve those in the moment. And 3, give them the skills to problem solve. So I know that's a lot of work ahead of time. And I always say this in our Whole Brain Connections group, is that 90% of parenting is done outside of the moment. We want to be proactive with teaching our kids skills instead of having something happen and then having to figure out how to fix it later.
I love it. Thank you so much. Okay, these were some great questions. Last chance if anybody has any last questions.
I do know that one of the questions we talked about was the difference between fostering independence versus pushing them away. I did want to comment on that. Yes. Because I think this is a really important one. And it is, I think, as long as you are approaching it from a loving, nurturing place where you are calm and in control yourself, and you don't have that tense expectation of a particular task, I think your kiddo will respond just perfectly. I mentioned this to you, Allie, the other day, is that really when we're teaching our kids how to be independent, we want to walk alongside them. We don't want to be dragging them from behind, nor do we want to be pushing them. We want to be walking alongside of them, guiding them, because that is our most important role as parents, next to keeping them alive, is we want to guide them through this crazy thing we call life.
So true and so beautifully said. I couldn't have come up with the words myself. That was beautiful. I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. Thank you so much, Jen. This was really helpful. I'm going to be thinking about a lot of the things that you said tonight, and I'm going to be using a lot of those resources for our classroom and in our home. I want to remind everybody that our next parent panel is on May 19th, and the topic is how to advocate for your child. We have quite a few speakers for that panel, so I hope you come join us because there's so much to learn on how to advocate for your children, both in the school setting and in social settings as well. Thank you all again so much. I want to wish you all a lovely evening.
And if you